This is a how to play and rules video for the G.I. Joe deck building game designed by T.C. Penny III and published by Renegade Games. The game is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players that plays in 30 minutes to around an hour. In the game, you'll be using Joes, vehicles, and equipment to defeat Cobra leaders and their minions as they craft devious schemes to confound you. Let's take a look at how to play the game. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that we can keep making videos like this one. The setup for the game varies slightly for solo, 2-player, and 3 to 4-player games. In all games, you'll be using the threat meter, but for solo and 2-player games, you'll use the side which shows 1 or 2 players. In solo and 2-player games only, you will also receive this reserve mat, which allows you to set aside a card without using any benefits from it at the end of your turn. When you draw cards back up at the end of your turn, you will draw this card too and have 6 cards in hand. In addition, in solo play, you'll also use the round token, which starts on the G.I. Joe symbol face up. It's a reminder that in solo you get 2 full turns before Cobra effects go into play. In solo, shuffle all promoted leaders into the main deck so that they are available to play. We will talk about the main deck more soon. Each player will always receive a starting deck consisting of 6 GIs, 1 comms, 1 diffuse, and 1 second effort. Add your 0-cost starter leader to those cards and shuffle. Keep your upgraded starter leader card nearby so that you can recruit them when you have the recruit costs available and you want to do so in the game. Starter leaders can be assigned at random, and the rest can be returned to the box if you aren't playing solo. Shuffle your 10-card starting deck and draw 5 cards. Place the hanger in play and in reach of all players. Make sure the vamp is in the hanger. Shuffle the main deck and place 6 cards to the left of it face up. This will serve as your marker where you can recruit cards. You should leave enough room next to the main deck for a discard pile. Place a face-up stack of service rifles somewhere near this recruit area. To set up Cobra, put the threat meter in view of all players, making sure it is on the correct side for the player count. Separate the complication cards into the 3 acts, 10 for Act 1, 8 for Act 2, and 6 for Act 3. The complication deck grows at the beginning of each new act by adding the relevant act to the discarded and remaining deck, which are shuffled together to start a new deck. In this way, you may see the same complications or new complications as the game progresses. Place the success and failure mission tokens in a place where you will have space for completed story missions of both types. Separate the Cobra troopers, Cobra battalions, and Cobra officers into separate face-up decks. There are also these 6 expert mode cards. If this is your first game, you can return those to the box. In the future, you can include them in your game using the rules on page 21 of the rulebook if you so desire. The game offers 2 different story missions, either the mass device, which have Mission 1 on the back, or Dr. Mindbitter's Operation Total Control with Mission 2 on the back. Choose which story you would like to play, and take all 18 story cards for that mission. The book recommends starting with Mission 1. The story mission deck is separated in 3 parts. Each act consists of 2 randomly drawn story missions and 1 finale card with a gold border. Start by placing the 3 finale cards face up nearby, and then shuffle the 5 Act 1 cards and randomly place 2 of them face down to start the story mission stack. Take the Act 1 finale and place it face down on top of those 2 cards and return the remaining 3 Act 1 cards to the box. Repeat this process with Act 2 cards, randomly placing 2 Act 2 cards face down on top of the stack started by Act 1. When you've added on the stack, add Act 2 finale face down to the stack. Repeat this process with Act 3 cards until the story mission stack has 9 cards in it total, comprising 3 acts all face down. Next, flip this entire stack face up. As cards from the stack are put into play, you'll be able to see the next mission on the stack. Use this advanced knowledge to gather the skills and cards you will need to overcome future challenges. The first story mission card won't actually come into play until after the first player has taken their turn. The game is played over multiple rounds. The starting player begins by taking their turn. Once the turn is over, the next player in clockwise order will take their turn. A round ends after every player has had 1 full turn. At that time, all end-of-round effects are resolved and the next round begins. Play continues in this way until the players all collectively win or lose. In this game, communication is open. You're actively encouraged to talk with other players during the game. You can talk about the cards that are in your hand and help new players learn the rules. You're in this together. The threat marker will start each game in the blue zone at the bottom of the threat meter. The players have 1 round at the start of the game to recruit cards from the lineup before the first mission card enters play. At the end of the starting round, you advance the threat marker 1 space on the threat meter. Then, at the beginning of the next player's turn, put the first story mission card into play as normal. After starting this round, the threat meter can never move back to the blue zone and can only return as far as the first space in the green. At the start of each player's turn, there is a start phase. During the start phase, you will refill the story mission if necessary. Check to see if a story mission is in play. If there is, skip this step. If there isn't, put the top card of the story mission stack into play in view of all players and resolve any immediate effects listed on the card. This step is skipped in the first turn of the game. If there is a red complication symbol on the story mission card, you must draw a number of complication cards equal to the value shown and place them face down next to the story mission. Usually, complication cards will be drawn and resolved face up immediately. However, these complications are only resolved when you start the story mission. Then you will resolve any start of turn effects. If there are multiple effects to resolve, story mission effects are resolved first, followed by any Cobra card effects, and finally, any Joe effects. If multiple effects take place at the same time, you get to choose the order in which the effects occur. The action phase consists of 2 steps which must be performed in order: missions and recruit. During the action phase, you will play cards from your hand for the special effects and go on missions. After you've finished all the mission attempts you wish to undertake, you may play any additional cards remaining in your hand. Recruit new cards from the lineup using the total recruit value of all the cards you've played during your turn. The recruit value is the star value on the top left second number shown here. The cost to recruit card is the top left larger number. Each Joe may only go on 1 mission per turn. Every mission requires that you use at least 1 transport for the mission. When played, transports go to the hangar and are usable by any player on their turn. The Vamp is a reusable vehicle for all missions. It can even be used more than once in the same turn. Most other vehicles will return to your discard after being used on a mission unless they have an exception clause that has been fulfilled due to something like matching terrain to the mission. Transports show how many Joes they can carry in their capacity. This is the number shown below their recruit cost. Some types of transports will give you an additional mission bonus if they match the transport type on the mission that they are trying to accomplish. Utility gear and basic cards will add to the capabilities of the Joes on a mission. These cards may also have a mission symbol, which is an M inside of a target scope. These cards may be played at any time on a mission as long as there is at least 1 Joe from that player assigned to the mission. They may even be played after rolling dice. There are 2 types of missions: group missions and side missions. A group mission is started by the active player, and all players may join it given that the chosen transport has enough capacity. Side missions can only be started and joined by the active player. Each mission has a difficulty number and lists up to 2 skills. The difficulty number is the number of hits the Joes on the mission must roll to succeed. If a Joe has skills matching the skills on the mission card, look at the number next to that skill, and the Joe provides that many dice to the mission. However, all Joes can always forgo their printed skills and instead provide 1 wild skill to the mission. A GI may do this even if they have no printed skills. Some mission cards will read "and" between the 2 skills. This means that both skills may be used on the mission. Some mission skills will read "or" between the 2 skills. These missions require you to pick one of the 2 skills to use on that mission. If a mission lists any one skill, the player must pick which skill is relevant before starting the mission. Only wild skills may be added to this mission type, in addition to the type picked. When you start a group mission, assign 1 Joe from your hand and 1 transport from the hangar. Play them both face up in front of you. You and other players can communicate about which Joes might be best on this mission. Remember that if a player has not played any Joes on the mission, they cannot play any mission cards later on for this mission. You can keep your own cards in your own player area so that they don't get mixed up during the mission. If there are any complications assigned to the mission, they are resolved at this time. First, flip over all face-down complications, then resolve all complications in the order of your choosing. If you have any effects targeting complications, use them before resolving or placing any complications. If there is a skill choice to be made, make that now. Determine your team's total skill and roll that many dice. Count up all hits. These are the stars on the dice. If you have any cards with that mission symbol on them that you want to use those now. Also, double check your transport for any bonuses. This can sometimes make a big difference. If your total hits matches or exceeds the difficulty number on the mission, it's a success. If it is a story mission, gain the bonus for the success and place the mission card under the blue success token. If it is a Cobra officer, return it to the supply. If your total hits are lower than the difficulty number on the mission, it's a failure. If it is a story mission, suffer the penalty for failure and place the mission card under the red failure token. If it's a Cobra officer, it remains in play. Side missions will also remain in play if it was a failure. Remember, only the active player may go on side missions. After a mission is complete, active players' cards remain in play. All other players' cards go to their discard piles. After you've completed any missions that you wanted to on your turn, you may now recruit. Add up all those stars on your cards, and this is how many recruit points you have to use. You may recruit more than once during your turn if you have enough recruit value to pay for all cards. Typically, when you recruit a card, it will go on top of your deck. However, if you recruit a transport, it will immediately go into the hangar for all players to have access to. Additionally, when you recruit, you will immediately replace the face-up recruited card with the top card from the main deck. If you'd like to promote your starter leader, it must already be in play. You may use the recruit points from this card to promote your leader though. Like usual with recruiting, place your promoted leader on top of your deck, then remove your starter leader from the game. To review, we have gone through a start phase where we refilled the story mission and resolved the start of turn effects. Then we went through an action phase where we resolved any missions and then recruited. Now we are at the end phase of a player's turn. No cards are played during the end phase. Resolve all turn effects. If there are multiple effects to resolve, story mission effects are resolved first, followed by any Cobra off their card effects or other Cobra effects, then any end of term effects listed on the threat meter. If multiple effects take place at the same time, you choose the order in which the effects will resolve. Discard your hand and all cards you have played this turn, then draw back up to 5 cards. Don't forget about your reserve card if you're playing a 1 or 2 player game. Once all players have completed one turn, the round is over. This is denoted by the end of round tracker placed to the right of the starting player. At this time, resolve the end of round effects in order listed on the end of round token. This will always result in the threat meter moving up at least one space, but there may be other effects as well. An end of round occurs between player turns. Resolve end of round effects in this order. First, story mission end of round effects, then Cobra operative end of round effects, finally any effects on the threat meter. Move the threat marker up one space on the threat meter after you've done all of that. As a reminder, the red rectangle with a CB indicates the players will put a Cobra battalion into play on top of their leftmost face-up card in the market, like this. The small red rectangle with a Cobra symbol on top of it means that the players will draw and immediately resolve a complication card. Finally, the arrow with the +1 on it means to move the threat marker up one space on the threat meter. The finale of each story mission has a gold border around it. When this story mission is completed, a new act will begin at the start of the next player's turn. After the first story mission of a new act is placed, take the complication discard pile and all complication cards for the next act, shuffle them together into the main complication deck. This means the complication deck will be renewed and upgraded with a mixture of cards from previous acts and the current act. One side mission that you may have a question about is Precision Strikes. Precision Strikes are a type of complication card. When they are revealed, they must be assigned to one player. A Precision Strike may be assigned to any player regardless of when it is revealed. The players should communicate as to who would be best able to handle the threat. When a player accepts the challenge, put the Precision Strike face up and under their control into the player area. Its effects and abilities only activate during that player's turn. In a solo game, this means that Precision Strikes will not take effect until the next round. A player may not control more than 2 Precision Strikes at a time. A player with 2 Precision Strikes cannot choose to take another, so it must be assigned a different player instead. If all players already control 2 Precision Strikes, discard any additional revealed Precision Strikes and do not draw any new complications to replace them. You may only attempt a mission against a Precision Strike you control on your turn because it is a side mission. Precision Strikes, which are failed, still remain in play. You've just learned the basics of how to play the G.I. Joe deck building game. Hope this video has been useful to you. There's also a glossary at the back of the rulebook on page 18 and some clarification for cards like Lady J, Roadblock, and Recovery Signal on page 19. Dice are also infinite in the game. Just re-roll some of your misses if you need to roll some more dice. If you've got the hang of the game and want some additional challenge, try those expert cards as well as the achievements on page 22 of the rulebook. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your favorite G.I. Joe character is, and happy gaming.